This is MikeBot. Today I'm going to be doing the infamous A1 bed replacement. So as you all know, the A1 had a recall a couple months ago. Bambu put a halt on the entire process and said don't use your printer, wait for a new engineered bed fix, blah 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 blah. Anyway, long story short, my new bed is here. And let me just open this up here. And it's basically right here. So the process to do this is a little time consuming, but it's not overly difficult. So that's basically all that comes in the box. You get the bed and the little silicone sock. So I'm not going to be talking throughout this entire video, so I can focus on replacing the bed here. Once the bed's been replaced, you need to go through something called a tramming process, and from there you set up your bed, snap your pictures, and you get your coupon from Bambu, assuming you opted for the bed replacement versus the full refund return of the A1. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this, and I'll do a voiceover, so don't worry. Everything will be a nice clean package ready for you all to view. I know a lot of these videos exist already, so I'm going to try to make this one unique and different compared to all the other videos.
Please ensure you do the following before proceeding. Make sure you have powered off your printer and unplugged it. Make sure the X-axis is towards the top of the printer. If you plan to do this manually with your hands, be very careful and move it upwards slowly. Make sure you use both your hands. Make sure the bed is pushed all the way back towards the back side of the printer. Remove your build plate and set it aside. Ensure the printer is cold and not hot so you do not burn yourself. Make sure you have an empty filament box or similar item. Something soft works as well. Now we are ready to begin.
Step 1. You want to start by removing the silicone covers from the heat bed. There are 4 in total. You're going to find a screw underneath each of the silicone covers. Using the larger of the 2 Allen keys that Bambu supplied when you first got your printer, unscrew the 4 screws and set them aside with the silicone covers. They are very easy to lose, so make sure you place them somewhere convenient and where you won't lose them. You are going to be reusing these covers and screws later on, but Bambu did actually supply new ones just in case, which is a surprise because they never ever supply you with extra stuff. Once the screws have been removed from the bed, you can now push the bed towards the back and slowly and carefully raise the bed. Once you have raised it off of the little connectors at the bottom there, or the sliders, whatever you want to call them, set the bed aside. Be very careful not to tangle the wires or drop the bed. Set it aside gently. We are ready to now proceed with step 3. So that was step 1 and 2 all in one. So now we are ready for step 3. So I just want to throw this out there because I want to show you how complicated these YouTube videos can be and how much work is required. I just spent the last 30 minutes talking into a microphone that was muted, and I have to restart everything now for you all. So please like this video and hit the subscribe button to show me your appreciation. I don't get paid to do this. I'm not sponsored. I do this as a hobby and for fun and to connect with you guys, the YouTube community. So anyway, moving forward, step 3. So now what you need to do is you need to place the printer on its side in order to access the wiring compartments. So you want to take the filament box I mentioned at the beginning of this video, or something similar, a cushion, something soft, place it down on the table, and then you want to take the printer and place it on that box or cushion. The reason you do this is because you don't want to damage your printer. There's only one proper way to place it. Any other ways going to end up damaging your filament wiper or your tool head, which you don't want to do, and I'm not sure if Bambu will replace them for you because it's part of the liability that you essentially signed when you took on this task to replace the bed yourself. So yeah, as I was saying, you want to angle the printer and place it on the box. Make sure the back corner is resting on the box, and again, make sure it's not on the tool head or on the filament wiper. Also take extra caution when doing this to avoid pulling on any cables or damaging anything. Although this bed is garbage now, if you pull on the cables the wrong way and it yanks it off the circuit board the wrong way, you're now liable for that damaged circuit board. Step 4. So now with the printer still on its side, you want to locate and carefully unplug the camera cable, the X motor cable, and the Z motor cable. So the little gray box, it's impossible to miss. You would have done this when you got the printer initially. It's a little gray box. It's got 3 wires sticking out of it. Those wires go into the motors and the camera, and then there's the USB connector. So you want to unscrew the little screw in the middle, pull it to basically pull the USB-C cable out, and then you want to unplug those other 3 cables. Actually, unplug those 3 cables first, then do the screw, then pull out the USB-C cable. There's going to be 3 wires dangling in the back. They're very small, they're fragile, they're easily severed. Be careful when you're doing this. Be as gentle as you can. So now you should have the cables disconnected as well as the USB-C cable, and you're ready to proceed to step 5. So step 5, now we're to the removing the panels and on the underside of the printer basically. So the first one, there's 6 screws holding the cover, which is towards the back. Unscrew all 6 screws, place them aside somewhere, make sure you don't lose them. There's no way to replace them if you do. And once those are removed, you want to gently pry open the panel. So you want to go to the top side of it and pull gently until you pry it open all around. Be careful, you don't want to crack this panel. It is plastic at the end of the day. So now for the second panel, which is 10 screws on this one. It's on the front bottom of the printer. Unscrew all 10 screws, place them somewhere safe again. Don't mix them up with the other 6. So what I did was I took the screws and I put them on the panel they belong to. So gently pry open this one again by pulling on the top right section. That's it. The 2 panels should be removed now. Easy as that. Bada boom, bada bing. We're ready for step 6. So now we're ready to disconnect the bed power cables. There are 2 of them, as you can see in my video here. So there's the 2 black power cables and the 4-pin cable. So for the black cables, you need to very carefully press on the connectors and gently pull towards you. Note that they have small locking tabs. If you force these, you will break the circuit board or the cables, and whew, good luck replacing those. So carefully press the locking tab, which will release the connector and pull it towards you. For the 4-pin signal cable, this one's a lot easier. Just grab the sides and pull it out gently. You might have a little bit of silicone glue on it, which will make it a little bit harder to release. Gently wiggle it back and forth, not by the cables, by the plastic connector until it comes loose. You might need to use a knife. I don't want to say this because if you screw it up, it's not my fault. But be very careful when you're doing this. And it should pry open. If it isn't coming out, take a breather, take a break, come back to it, approach it again. You don't want to rush this. Although it takes 15 minutes to replace it if you do this fast, it's not about speed, it's about quality. So just be careful, please. Don't tell me I told you to use a knife and you cut everything. Again, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm just here to help you guys out because I'm like you. I'm a 3D printing hobbyist. So now with the 4-pin cable removed and the 2 black power cables removed, you're basically ready to proceed to step 7. But before we do that, there's the yellow ground wire. So this one is towards the back of the printer. There are 2 of them and they're held by screws. You want the one towards the bottom, which should be your table, facing towards your table. Don't touch the top one, just the second one. It's a simple screw holding it in place. Unscrew it. Set the screw somewhere safe. Don't lose that screw. It's not replaceable unless you buy another one from Bambu. And the cable should come right out. It's just a ground wire. There's nothing else to it. So just do exactly what I'm doing in this video. I know the video is not perfect, but everyone's done these videos and I want to be different. I'm me. I'm Mike Bot. I'm not this person or that famous person. I'm me. That's it. So now for step 7. So now with the heat bed connector cables, they should be loose. So At this point, we can remove the old heat bed from the printer. So you want to raise the backside of the cable upwards, then pull from the back of the wire. This will allow you to remove the heat bed wire completely and start the installation process of the new heat bed. Again, be very gentle and careful when you're doing this. Don't rush it. There's no rush. It's not a race. But essentially, that's it. You just did the first half of the video. You've removed the old heat bed. Take a break. Go have a cold drink. Breathe. Watch a TV show. Take a break. Or get ready to proceed with the install of the new heat bed. So if you're ready to proceed, continue the video. If not, pause, rewind, do what you gotta do. Go over this video 2-3 times if you need to. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and join my Patreon. So anyway, moving forward, we're ready to install the new heat bed. So step 1, you want to carefully place the printer upward while holding the side wires. Make sure not to sever the wires. So when you're moving the printer back upright, be very careful like I've said throughout this entire video. Step 2, you want to now align the heat bed metallic frame to the 2 metallic stands on the y-axis. So basically the rails I was talking about in the very beginning of this video. You can do this 2 ways, the wrong way or the right way. If you do it the wrong way, you're going to get issues like C-homing failed or bed not placed right, and you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to figure it out. So align them and make sure you put them in to the right holes. There are 2 holes. I'll try to throw a picture on here to show you where to put them in. And once they're aligned, you put the screws in, and then you reinstall the silicone covers. So again, reuse the silicone covers and the screw from the beginning of this video, or just use the new ones, completely up to you. So I'm just going to pause the video here, take note of where I'm at, and find a picture and upload it all for you into my video. So now we're ready for step 3. So you're going to place the printer back on its side onto the filament box or cushion or whatever you used. Be careful not to damage that filament wiper or the tool head like I mentioned earlier. Be extra cautious at this point to avoid pulling on the heat bed cable. Take caution throughout this entire process. I know a lot of you are probably new to this and that's why you're watching this video, or you're just watching it for fun. But if you've done this before, you know what you're doing. If you haven't, please listen carefully to when I'm telling you be careful. So now with step 4. So at this point, we're almost at the end. We have maybe another 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops of work to go. So you want to carefully arrange the heat bed cables and separate the yellow ground wire from the other 3. You want to gently push the other 3 cables through the back side of the machine, as I'm doing in the video here, and slowly route it through towards the circuit board. Do not route the yellow ground wire through. It will be a pain to take out after and may pull the other cables out. Take your time on this portion. Do not rush it. Take your time. One mistake and you're going to have a lot bigger issues to worry about than replacing a heat bed. Routing them is somewhat easy, but if you getting some resistance or some issues, you're doing something wrong, stop, breathe, have a cold glass of water, take your time, and reapproach it. So if they don't fit once you get to the very last area when you're routing it, you might need to use an Allen key. This part here gave me some trouble, and I've done many repairs in my lifetime. So if you're going to use an Allen key, be careful not to sever any of the cables, but it'll basically help you pull them out towards you. So slowly use the Allen key to pull them out towards you if they're stuck. If they're not, you got lucky, you got it the first time. Good job. So again, be very careful with this so you don't sever any of the cables. So after they've been routed through, you can now reconnect them onto the board. The black wires will connect to the same terminals as before, and you can put them in any order. Bambu made this foolproof essentially. And the 4-pin signal cable will go back onto the port terminal. So make sure you double check at this point to make sure the cables are properly inserted, because if they're not, you're going to have to redo this afterwards and take everything apart, and it's going to suck. Once again, they tried to make this as foolproof as possible, but mistakes do happen. I've made many mistakes, so not with this specific replacement, but in general. So once the 4-pin cable has been routed through and installed and everything, you now need to place it around the plastic pillar and secure it with tape. This is very, 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 very important you do this, because if you don't do it right, you're going to sever the cable when you're putting the screw back into the panel. And this is also one of the mandatory steps in order to get your coupon from Bambu, is to take a photo of this step. So make sure you secure it around the little screw cover, so not on top, but around the little panel. And by panel, I mean the plastic pillar. And secure it with tape. I've repeated it twice. They say repeat it 3 times and it sticks in someone's memory. Route it around the plastic pillar and stick it with tape. Secure it with tape. If you don't do this, you may sever the cable and you're going to have big issues. So once it's secured, snap a picture of this, because this is one of the things you need to show Bambu proof that you did, or you don't get the coupon. So we're going to call this photo number 1. You're going to need 3 to 4 pictures in total. And I'm going to mention the rest of the photos shortly as well, so don't worry. So next, you want to reattach the yellow ground terminal to the printer with the screw. So that screw you put aside, this is where the yellow ground cable goes back in. Secure it in nice and tight. Snap a picture of the yellow secured ground wire. This is now photo number 2 that you need to provide Bambu. So photo 1 was routing around the plastic pillar with tape and securing it with tape, and number 2 is securing the yellow ground wire. So now we are ready for step 5. So first things first, take note that you need to route the hanging Z-axis cables through your panel, or you're going to pinch them and sever the cables. So that little box where the USB-C cable is with the 3 wires, then there was the 3 little ones, you need to route that through as well. And be careful with this, or you're going to cause an issue when you're putting the panels back on. So carefully move it aside or something, because you're going to put the panels back on now. So let's start with the front bottom cover. So put it onto the printer, click it into place, install the 10 screws. Make sure not to over tighten the screws or you're going to damage the threading. So when you're doing this portion, you need to be careful with that box, because if you cut those cables, you're screwed. I guess no pun intended, but be careful, seriously. So step 6, now we need to install the last cover. Pay very close attention to this step. Take the black bed cable and carefully turn it. So the black cable that's inside the Chinese finger trap there, you want to turn that cable. It's a little white plastic knob you would have seen when you inserted it initially. And it's vertical, and you want to turn it horizontally. If you do this wrong, you're not going to get the coupon back from Bambu, because you're going to cause strain to the cable and you might have that issue they had with the initial recall. So you want to turn the bed cable so that it aligns with the middle of the printer. This is essentially locking the cable in place. I took a photo of this and provided it to Bambu, but you don't need to, it's optional. And optional by my standards, not Bambu's, but I'm going to call this photo number 3. So once you've aligned that black notch and turned it and it looks good, I'm going to do another picture actually and upload it to show you all what it should look like. Now you can place the back panel on. The back panel should go on easily. If it doesn't, that means you inserted or turned the little knob the wrong way. So while you're putting the back panel, hold the bed cable into place, or the cable might slip. I had to redo it 3 times personally, but it took a whole 3 minutes, not even. So make sure you're holding the bed cable and install the plastic panel back. Once it clicks into place, you're ready to screw it in. There are 6 screws, and remember not to over tighten the screws. We are now ready for step 7. So with the printer still on its side, you want to carefully align the plastic bracket with the USB-C and 3 wires. So push the USB-C in completely to the front of the printer as much as possible. Screw in the little screw to hold the box in place. And then you want to click in the 3 cables. So you have I think it was the Z-axis, Y-axis, and the camera. I think, I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head at the moment. And then you want to carefully arrange those little wires I mentioned to be careful with 100 times through that little plastic channel. So again, reinsert the Z motor, X motor, and camera cable. They are color coded for ease of installation and basically made foolproof, so thank you Bambu for making it so simple for everyone. So 3 cables, USB-C, and then you want to route the little fragile wires through the plastic channel. Now we're ready for step 8. We're almost done, folks. Flip the printer upright. Now we need to install the silicone backstop. So grab the little backstop from the package, remove the tape. You should expose the adhesive at this point. You want to take the silicone cover and place it near the bed cable, roughly an inch away. Snap a photo of the silicone cover backstop, which should be near the bed cable, and we're going to call this photo number 4. By the way, when you're installing that stop, hold it for 3 seconds so the adhesive sticks. This is also going to make it very hard to remove that panel from underneath, so if you made a mistake at this point, you're going to be having a little bit of difficulty taking that panel off from underneath afterwards. So now we have all 4 photos. We have the yellow ground wire, the one that's routed around the plastic pillar with tape, the optional one I told you about, and the 4th photo, which is the silicone backstop. And that's it, we're done. Place the printer back in your workshop, plug the power cable in, power it on, and test. Run a calibration, run a test print. That's it, the bed replacement is done. Easy as that. So there's also a step called tramming. I'm not going to include it in this video. It is a little bit complex, but I will make another video on it if you mention it in the comments. It's technically needed, but a lot of people chose to skip it because it is a little complicated to do. And a lot of people also assume the auto bed leveling will fix any of the issues that the tramming is supposed to fix, essentially. So I think that's why a lot of people didn't do it. But anyway, let me know in the comments if you want that video or not. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this video, you need any advice, feedback, or just want to say a simple thank you or send me a coffee. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you check out my Patreon. This video was typically going to be a week on Patreon before YouTube. Patreon typically gets stuff anywhere from 1 week to a month before YouTube does. So once again, questions or comments, leave them below. Hit the subscribe button. And that's it for now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. MikeBot out.
Thank you for watching MikeBot Entertainment.